Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Roy Goldenberg, and we are at the panel called The Social Side of E-Commerce. E-commerce have a huge impact on people today. You sit with your smartphone, tablet, or a laptop, and you can buy anything from anywhere. Over the last years, e-commerce has changed and keeps changing the lives of millions around the world. From people who don't have the time to go to the supermarket and want to buy their groceries online, to people in faraway countries that want to buy something from Macy's in the US. Yesterday, I met an Israeli startup that helps sellers on eBay and Amazon convert their online stores to a Facebook store. And the CEO told me last month they sold 3 cars through Facebook. Time has changed, and even more and more people are willing to do their shopping online. Even here in Israel, when you go the small steps to the nearest supermarket, and as you can see today, the weather is very fine, and you don't have to do the shopping online. Even here in Israel, people try to do that. Anyway, let's start by being social. So everybody here, please introduce yourself and tell me and the audience how it is related to e-commerce.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Doron. I'm the CEO of a young startup called HappySale. HappySale is a consumer-to-consumer marketplace. We're basically trying to make the experience of selling things to each other much more social, much more emotional, and much more fun.
Hi, my name is Frederic. I'm an investor with a firm called Advent Venture Partners based in London. And most of the investments I've made have been the digital commerce value chain. And in particular, one of the areas I'm focused on is anything at the intersection of lifestyle and technology, which includes fashion, apparel, design, etc., where there is typically a very strong emotional, passional, and social element.
My name is Glenn Fogel. I'm with the Priceline Group. We do online travel. People in Israel probably know us better by our company Booking.com or maybe Agoda. We also own a company called RentalCars.com. We recently bought a company called Kayak. I've been with the company for 14 years almost. I run our global strategy. I run our corporate development, which is our M&A activity, and also run something we started recently called Priceline Ventures, which is your usual corporate VC activity, which is one of the reasons I'm here right now.
Hi, I'm Marc Worth. I guess I'm sitting here wearing 2 hats. My business, STYLUS Media Group, provides business intelligence to all consumer industries. So we track trends in consumer behavior, in product, and we cover 20 different industries. So e-commerce and social e-commerce is certainly one of the categories that we do cover. My other hat is as chairman of UK Israel Business, which was formerly the British Israel Chamber of Commerce, and our role is to connect Israeli companies of all sizes with British companies and provide a gateway into the European markets.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Let's start, but ask each one of you, what do you think is the biggest challenge of e-commerce today? Doron, you want to begin?
Well, I think there are a number of them. First thing is, when it comes to e-commerce, I think, from our perspective at least, the experience of buying things online, I think is currently polished probably as much as any internet experience can be. I think when it comes to buying things online, the amount of friction or friction-reducing experiences that we see is so large. We're basically to the point where any product you want, if you live in a country like the US, is 1 click and 1 day of delivery, sometimes even same-day delivery from you. So in terms of buying, I think the experience is extremely polished and successful. In terms of selling, I think there is a lot more to be improved. I think one of the things that e-commerce hasn't done in the past decade is convince us that selling things online is as fun and as easy as buying things online. We consider selling things, I know that from the market research we're doing in HappySale. It's considered to be a chore by most people. It's considered to be something like paying the bills. Yeah, I have to sell these shoes that I got and are not in the right size. And people try all sorts of other venues other than selling on marketplaces because of that. So I think the biggest challenge from our perspective is improving the selling experience and making everybody in this room think, yeah, I can sell something. It's a no big deal. I just 2 clicks away and I'm going to sell it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I would agree. Lots of challenges right now in commerce. I would say probably the most striking one, it's the same challenge as media groups are facing, which is the massive and very, very fast switch to mobile. I'm very, I keep on being surprised when I meet companies to see the very fast growing percentage of both traffic and conversion that is happening on mobile for all kinds of e-commerce sites, including some, you mentioned selling cars earlier. People are buying cars on eBay on mobile devices, so there is no limit to how much money can be spent on mobile devices. But it's a very different world, because it's very different place to acquire customers, very different place to retain them, and obviously it's a very constrained space to do stuff and to conclude a transaction. And most of the companies I look at right now, I've got around, say 30% of their business on mobile, and if we sit here in 2 years, I'm sure for most of them it will be over 50%.
I think that what we are seeing as the biggest challenge, and this echoes what was just said, is the rate of change. Things change much faster in the entire internet mobile ecosystem than before. That requires all of us who are already established to try and keep up. We find new startups all the time that are trying to take away our business, and it just seems to be happening faster and faster. And that is something that a decade ago, or certainly 15 years ago when I was first looking at entering the space, wasn't quite the problem. You needed to get a lot of money to be a competitor. Nowadays, you can do a startup so cheaply, and everybody seems to be doing it. There's a lot more things that we have to watch out for. So I think that's our biggest challenge.
I think one of the interesting challenges that presents itself at the moment is a sort of it's how the publishers are going to respond to e-commerce. The interesting shift that Net-a-Porter, I'm sure most of you are aware of Net-a-Porter, are launching their first real magazine. I think it's called Porter. It's going to launch early next year, and that's an e-tailer or e-tailer moving into publishing. And of course, all the publishers have to move into e-commerce as well. And there's some very interesting stuff going on there at the moment, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they rise to that challenge and if indeed they succeed, because they're two very, very different industries.
Okay. Frederic mentioned before the mobile, so let's talk about the mobile, how it changed the industry of e-commerce today and in the upcoming years. Marc, you want to answer first? Let's start from that direction.
Mobile.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing some interesting stuff there. I think a lot of the traditional e-commerce sites haven't really borne that in mind from the outset. I think there are certain ones that are doing it very well. I think one in particular, Burberry, who I know everybody always sort of holds up there as the shining light of e-commerce, is one that has particularly paid attention. Interesting news on today about Burberry. Is everybody aware of that? The CEO standing down and moving to Apple. But I mean, they've done a fantastic job in the whole e-commerce space, and their mobile platform's exceptional.
It's interesting the change that we see happening as more and more people are using the mobile device to try and accomplish the same thing that they did with their desktop. And obviously people use them differently. And we have to then learn how can we best bring to our customers what they need in a much smaller device. Clearly, there are differences in how people operate them, the information they're looking for, and what we see is people, they'll go to their mobile device, then they'll use their tablet, then they'll use their desktop, and they'll go back to the mobile. So it's very important for anybody who is in the consumer side of this world to be able to have some sort of strategy that you're going to be able to work with all the different devices. And we know there are going to be more devices coming down. I don't know how many people here have had the pleasure of using Google Glass, but that is transformative, that device. And we're going to see more of those things. Again, that goes that rate of change thing I talked about. It's not just mobile, it's all devices that are changing extremely rapidly.
I would even add that what's very interesting about mobile, even beyond trying to do the same thing from desktop to mobile, is that you then have that device with you everywhere, even when you shop offline, and that enables some very interesting, some multi-channel experiences and opportunities, and a very different way to shop. You will be able to access more information at the point of sale when you are in a store. So that means that a retailer will be able to use the mobile device not just as a threat, but as a way to understand better the customer, providing with better information, and maybe establish connection at that point, as well as online if you was to connect with him on the desktop. So that sort of convergence between offline and online is really enabled with mobile. I think there are lots of opportunities there for entrepreneurs to deliver technology-enabled services for retail.
So I think, first of all, the mobile device in its current form is really the most amazing and versatile tool that I think people ever had. You control so much and have the ability to do so much in terms of productivity through your mobile device. When it comes to the part of e-commerce that we're trying to work on, which is how to make selling things much easier and more accessible, the mobile device gives you tools that previously you needed a whole room to fill with. Okay, so anybody who has ever had an e-commerce operation know that you need to take photos of items, and you need to upload metadata of items, and you need all that stuff to create a decent online e-commerce presence. The mobile device can do all of that with 3 clicks. You take a photo of something and you get the metadata of that specific item. Once you enter its name, you can get it from the internet because you have connectivity. You can get the location from the device, and basically, boom, in 3 clicks, you have a very beautiful listing of an item that you want to sell. So from our perspective, the mobile device is key, and it's also the first platform we launched HappySale on because of that. I think mobile, it made photo sharing much more accessible. It's going to make e-commerce much more accessible, both on the buying side and on the selling side, because of its versatility, because of the usage of camera and connected APIs and social networks and all that stuff.
You talked about point of sale, and the last 2 years, people speaking about mobile wallet, digital wallet. How do you think this will end up eventually? Because today there are a lot of companies that are working in this field, a lot of formats. Talking about NFC, talking about other methods. How do you see the mobile changing the offline commerce?
Well, maybe if I can start there. I mean, there was something very interesting about the recent iPhone launch, the new iPhone, where there is now an ability for the device to connect without impacting the battery too much with through a different chipset, connect with through Bluetooth at the point of sale. So send information back and forth between the device and the point of sale. And there was an announcement from PayPal launching this product called iBeacon, which I found particularly interesting, where they will enable retailers to connect to a customer who's got a PayPal account and a smartphone, so starting with an iPhone, but they will probably do that through Android later as well. And that enables some very interesting data exchanges at the point of sale, including sort of frictionless payment, because you don't have to swipe cards or anything. You just have your, in that case, PayPal account, but I'm sure there will be other options. And you can just transact very smoothly through a wireless connection. And I think we're going to see much more of that, again, enabled by the mobile device.
I mentioned before Facebook, and people are buying things on Facebook. They're talking about a lot of social commerce and F-commerce, but do you think people will buy things on Facebook, Twitter, or Pinterest? It will work someday?
You mean, are people going to actually buy things, Facebook being the storefront? I don't know, and at least from what I see, Facebook hasn't been very successful in that so far. I think what they're having now, this experience of buying presents for somebody's birthday, they have a collaboration with an external website for that. I think it's one of the more interesting ones and probably more successful because I still see it after several months from launch. I think Facebook it's an area for conversation. It's the town square. And in the town square, there are a lot of discussions. There's politics and there's gossip and emotional stuff. And consumerism is definitely part of it. I think right now what I see on Facebook is that a lot of the conversation is around reputation. People recommending things they think they had a good experience with, or trashing things they had a bad experience with, and companies are very minded of that reputation. So it's more of a reputation scene in terms of the discussion. I think as far as actual commerce, Facebook, from my perspective, is not going to be where the commerce is actually being held. It's going to be a link to a different scene, but Facebook is a key component of that, of course.
What about, by the way, someone else, Pinterest? Maybe.
Well, maybe just because I would know, I'm kind of sort of more bullish on the ability of Facebook to deliver sales, because I see more and more businesses, in particular around fashion. I mean, Facebook has been a great platform for sort of gaming transactions. But I think more and more I see companies delivering physical goods, acquiring customers very successfully on Facebook. And that's really in particular since you are able now to promote products in a very engaging way in the feed, and also for marketers to target very specifically through those new products called custom audience and lookalike audience from Facebook, where you can really target specific customers with quite an engaging ad. One other company I'm an investor in is it's in France actually. It's a fashion retailer for young people. It's quite affordable, cool products. All of their marketing is done on Facebook. It's called RAD, R-A-D. It's quite affordable items, 15, 20, 30 euros. The items appear in the feed, people click and come back. And commerce is very much about repeat. And Facebook, I think, is a great platform for repeat. Once you're in the feed, people come back and come back and come back.